Units raised to a power. Derived units like cubic centimeters. We have centimeters to the third power. When we're converting units that are squared or cubed, we also have to square or cube the factor, the conversion factor. So centimeters cubed to inches cubed. The relationship between centimeters and inches is that 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. So I'll draw a box here. So this is 1 inch on each side. Then the volume of the box is 1 inch times 1 inch times 1 inch, right? Which would be 1 cubic inch. Without the dots on the eyes, those kind of look like meters. Everybody okay with that? Well, this side that's 1 inch is the same as 2.54 centimeters. So if I was going to measure this block in centimeters and calculate its volume, the volume would be 2.54 centimeters times 2.54 centimeters times 2.54 centimeters. So does that equal 2.54 cubic centimeters? No. Because it's 2.54 times 2.54 times 2.54. 2.454 is also cubed. A square inch is 2.54 cubed. Not a square inch, a cubic inch, sorry. A cubic inch is 2.54 cubed cubic centimeters. So if we cube the unit, then we also have to cube the number. Now, this 1 is also cubed, but when you cube 1, it doesn't matter. And so I think that's one of the things that messes people up, is they say, well, we didn't. Yeah, the 1 stayed the same. Yeah, the 1 stayed the same because 1's weird. 1 divided by 1 is 1, and 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, and do anything with 1, and it's still 1. So we usually don't show that that's cubed. But a cubic inch would be 2.54 cubed cubic centimeters. Let's do an example. Automobile engine has a displacement of 289.7 cubic inches. What is the displacement in cubic centimeters? So they used to measure things in inches in engines, and now they use liters and cubic centimeters. Well, our number that we're starting with is 289.7 cubic inches. And we're asked to calculate the size in cubic centimeters. So when you're looking for a relationship between cubic inches and cubic centimeters, you're not going to find that in a table in the book. What you do is you first just ignore the exponent and say, well, do I know a relationship between inches and centimeters? Yes, I do. So I can do this in one step. I know that 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. So a cubic inch, I cube that, and I cube this, those are still equal. So 289.7 cubic inches. I'm going to put cubic centimeters here and cubic inches down there. 2.54 centimeters equal to 1 inch. But the unit is cubed. I need to cube the number as well. So you could do this on your calculator a couple of different ways. You can multiply by 2.54 raised to the third power, Or you can just type in times 2.54 3 times. Just use the method that makes the most sense to you. So 289.7 times, and I'm going to use the exponent method. So we got 2.54, and then I've got a button that'll raise this to a power of 3, and then I press equals, and I get 4747 point a whole bunch of stuff. So the cubic inches canceled, and this would be cubic centimeters. Did you get the number to come out on your calculator? So how many sig figs should it have? 4. This one's exact. So we don't even have to think about that one. We started with 4, we're going to end with 4. Be here, so 4747 cubic centimeters. That's the size of the engine. Questions? How many cubic inches are there in 3.75 cubic yards? Well, there's only one number in this problem, so that must be what we're starting with. 3.25 cubic yards, and we're trying to get to cubic inches. Anybody know how many inches are in a yard?
36.
36. So since we know that 1 yard equals 36 inches, we can do this in one step. If you didn't remember that, you might have to go from yards to feet to inches, but we're good here. So remember, with this unit, because we're doing cubic yards to cubic inches, we're going to cube both sides of the relationship. A cubic yard is not 36 cubic inches, it's 36 cubed cubic inches. 3.25 cubic yards. We want cubic inches on top, cubic yards on the bottom. 36 inches is 1 yard, but the unit is cubed, so we have to cube the number. So I've got 3.25 times 36 raised to the 3rd power. Calculator's giving me 151632. That would be cubic inches. How many sig figs should that have? 3. So keep the 1, the 5, the 1. There's my 3rd significant figure. This is where people do, well, honestly, it's just a stupid thing, right? They'll round this off and say it's 152 cubic inches. But it was 151,632 cubic inches. When we round this off, we can't change the overall size of it. Up until now, we've been rounding things that were either in the ones place or over in tenths or hundredths, and so we haven't run into this problem before. Do you know what the name of this decimal place is? This is the ones, the tens, the hundreds, and the thousands, right? Anytime you're rounding to a place that's higher than the ones place, you need to be careful because you can accidentally change the size of the number. It's like, okay, I'm going to buy this car from you, and you want $32,475 for it. Well, let's just round that to 2 significant figures and I'll give you $32. You want that deal? No, of course not, because 32,000 is not close to 32, right? So you understand that when you're talking about the price of a car, but it kind of just slips by you when you're looking at the number of cubic inches, right? So 2 different strategies for avoiding that error. The first is put this number in scientific notation and then round it. So putting it into scientific notation, I'm going to move the decimal point so it's after the first non-zero digit. So that would be 1.5. And now I can just round. So it will be 1.5. I'm going to round that 1 up to a 2 because the next digit is a 6. There's my 3 sig figs. Times 10 to the, my decimal point was here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I moved it 5 places. Was that a big number or a small number? It was a big number, 151,000. I would feel great about that as a paycheck. For a month, that'd be awesome. Very positive. So positive exponent. So that's a good answer. That's the best answer right there. Another way to do this, also correct but not ideal. You're rounding here, so you write down 1, 5. You need to round the 1 up to a 2. Now you can't just stop. Any digits that you encounter before the implied decimal point, you have to replace with zeros. So I'm going to replace the 6 with a 0, and the 3 with a 0, and the 2 with a 0 cubic inches. So 151,632 rounded to the nearest thousand would be 152,000. These are ambiguous zeros, and so they should be avoided, but it's okay. Any questions? Yeah.
But in chemistry, most likely they'll look for the scientific notation.
Scientific notation is generally best, yeah. My rule of thumb is if there's more than 3 zeros, either at the beginning or the end, put it in scientific notation. Because I can see 3 zeros pretty well. It's like, the spots on the dice, right? If there's like a whole bunch of, if they go past 6 and there's all these, if there were 20 spots, who can just see 20? You have to get your finger out and count them, and then you feel like a first grader or something. So anytime there's more than 3 zeros, scientific notation is just nicer to deal with, okay? But unless the problem specifically says express it in scientific notation or express it in decimal notation, I'll accept either one. Any other questions?